Finally, seeing some signs of the future at Adventureland Treehouse. We got 3 holes in the downtown Disney lot, our first sign of what the Pixar Place Hotel might look like, plus Jazz Kitchen, surprising repairs, and more, all coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hi guys, David here with Fresh Baked with construction updates for you from around the Disneyland Resort, and today we're going to start with what I think could be our first real signs of life at what will eventually become the Adventureland Treehouse. Still getting used to calling it that. We had some high winds last week, so they brought the scrims down, as usual, giving us an updated look at how things were going inside the treehouse. At first, I was seeing mostly, the same old, darkness and branches and leaves. The center room with the thatched roof, see that all the time. But then I noticed at the very top left, more color than I was used to seeing, and signs of work. These branches here, I'm almost positive those are new, due to the color. They're still white, like it's in the primer stage. And then they'll most likely be adding detail and aging pretty soon, I would imagine. Much like how we've seen them do, like with the rock work at Galaxy's Edge. And there, of course, are a whole bunch of paint buckets, most likely, I'm assuming, are for the shades of tree branch, brown and green, I would expect. By the way, this action is happening here because this is where one of the rooms will be, one of the new rooms, the daughter's room, the room that has the SEA flag hanging from it, which I should add, when we theorized in previous videos that Disney might add SEA to the treehouse by making father. When I was thinking they were going to make it Swiss Family, I thought, well, they could just make it SEA by making father a member of SEA. In the back of my mind, though, I wondered if they would indeed go that easy route or do something a little bit more progressive. And now that we know that it's not Swiss Family, that it's an entirely different family, they can do something like making the daughter the adventurer, which that's unexpected, but I'm glad they did. I think it's wonderful and empowering, and I'm here for it. Can't say yet, obviously, we've only seen the one concept art. Can't say yet if she's just an SEA enthusiast or a full-fledged member of the society. I can't wait to find out. There's a story there. But there we have her room. In this room will be brand new construction in the tree houses. I don't believe there were any show elements in this space before, though I certainly can be wrong. Heck, it's been so long, I can barely remember where things were anymore, at least not when looking at things from the ground. You've probably also spotted those two things wrapped in hefty bags. Almost positive those are finished show elements that will be installed soon. They're wrapped to both keep them safe from the elements and also safe from me and my grandpa cam. With this camera, I can see everything. Back to the center area, and while shooting this part, I wasn't sure what I was seeing, as things are not as clear through the flip screen when I'm recording it as they are once I get home and look at them in the editor. I thought those fans might be show elements from the distance, but as we zoom in a bit, it does look like they are constructing something behind those fans. I have to think that's a very large branch. I want to say it's a tree trunk, but it's horizontal, so I don't know, but it has the width of a tree trunk, the look of a tree trunk. But I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I'm pretty sure that's a tree feature, a very large branch. And if you've ever wondered what theme park trees look like on the inside, I think this just might be that. Definitely hoping to get a second look at this next week if the scrims are still down. We'll slide up again, and this time to the right to see what I assume will be the sun's room. Now, this is a previously occupied space. This is more or less where what was it, a leopard, I think? Now, I'm not sure if this is exactly where that was, but it's more or less in the same area. And we can see again that those are new branches being built there. Now, these are in a different stage, it looks like. These look like they are now applying some of that next level of color and detail. They almost look like a partially skinned potato. And there's also another something wrapped in a plastic trash bag. I jumped on the Mark Twain to try and get a better look at this room from the top deck, try to get a little higher. And sure enough, we did get a pretty good view, and we're going to use that. use that red ladder-like apparatus as a basis point. The first view that we just showed you, that looked like what was under the red ladder thing. This view gives us a peek at what's above the red ladder thing. I have no idea what's going on with the steel there, if those are temporary or permanent, but whatever it is, I find this utterly fascinating. Watching the slow evolution of something creative getting life, a person thought of this in their mind, they drew it, they conceived of it, and then somebody else is now taking those dreams, those creativity, the thoughts and images and making them real. I just get such a kick out of it. I remember ruminating on this topic often in our Galaxy's Edge updates, but I just wanted to put that out there. I find this utterly fascinating. But anyway, I think it's likely that those steel, I want to call them 2x4s, but I don't know what they are. I think they're permanent and possibly the floor for the sun's room. We'll find out soon, hopefully, as I think this part of the treehouse can be seen from the Mark Twain, whether or not the scrims are down. I don't think this is covered by scrim. So we'll be checking on this again soon. That was a lot of fun. We'll be back next week to see what happens. But for now, let's keep going on the Mark Twain, where we'll find at the end of our trip that they have finished that seating area next to the Twain dock that's been closed for, I don't know, half of forever. Actually, this has been done for a little while now, a week or two at least, I think. I know it was done when I visited on that rainy day. That was like 2 weeks ago. But I hadn't been able to include it in a construction video until now. It has at times been open for guests, but on this day they had it closed off, so I couldn't go up there. But you can see there's new flooring and new tables. Not sure how much, if any, of the woodwork out front is new or redone. Looks very nice, though. Glad they did this. If you ever have a chance, grab some lunch and try to find a table up there. It's really a very Disney experience. Next, let's get on the monorail and check out downtown Disney. Today we have what looks to be some very hard-packed dirt. Definitely getting ready to do some actual constructing. Yes, let's go. Back in the rear of the area there, in the rear of the frame, are what looks to be 3 new holes dug in the dirt. Possibly, I'm thinking maybe the rain runoff apparatus in the forward section. If so, we might also expect that area to be the open grassy areas that we've seen in the concept art. That's the way my mind is seeing this right now, is that in the concept art, that open grassy area in front of the stage, that's where I feel like that's where that hole is. Although there's a lot of real estate behind those holes, so I don't know, it's hard to say, but that's just what my mind is thinking right now. This story is very close to developing quickly. I think the construction is going to be happening soon, but I do have one question. Actually, I take that back. First, let's go to the Jazz Kitchen, where we'll find some scrims up on the second floor. Very likely, the next phase of this project is the removal of the wrought iron railings and paint. Try to peek inside a bit, and we can see the scrims extend interior, the inner portion as well. That's definitely going to be for paint, etc. Now, there in the middle of the frame is the fountain. And I've heard a rumor that this is going to be removed and they're going to install a small piano bar for happy hour service. Now, it's just a rumor. Haven't been able to vet that at all. Could just be talk, but if so, that's kind of interesting. I kind of like it. I wonder if did they have to enclose that's open above them, right? Would they have to enclose that area if this does happen? Meanwhile, across the street, Tortilla Joe's, where rumors are heating. Well, at least it's kind of an old rumor, but they're heating up, and that is that Tortilla Joe's is, in fact, the future location of the Din Tai Fung restaurant. Now, if that's the case, it means they're going to demo this building entirely, because surely it looks nothing like the concept art, of course. Now, if this is true, I got to wonder about the timeline of this entire project. The rumor I heard was spring for Din Tai Fung, which, in terms of, I should say, spring for the demo of Tortilla Joe's, which puts us well behind the pace being set by the now vacant AMC Theater site, where, they've already spent months demoing those buildings and preparing the land for construction. 6 months? It's been a while. But in a few months, surely by then, they're going to be vertical, while Tortilla Joe's would just be beginning the demo phase. Meanwhile, the Jazz Kitchen, that could be done by then. So this is definitely a long-term done in phases project, if I have everything correct. Can't say for sure if I do. So it's not a situation where they're going to just suddenly unveil a newly finished or updated downtown Disney. This is going to be done in pieces, which I mean, I guess you kind of have to. While we're on that subject of things not happening, can we talk about how they're going to make that pig of a building at the ESPN zone look or fit in with the eventual mid-century modern design aesthetic? That's a box, and no part of that says to me mid-century modern. I know they're not going to, because I don't think they are. I've heard they have plans for that building. It's the least sexy building I've ever seen in my life. And for that matter, what are they going to do with the Star Wars Trading Post? Are they going to keep that building the way it is? That's not exactly fitting in with the aesthetic either. It's going to be interesting to watch. I hope they know what they're doing, because I really do like that. The concept art. I really like it. I really do. But the last thing I want to see is for it to get interrupted by whatever it is that they're, not doing at ESPN Zone or at the Trading Post or the old, Rainforest Cafe. Oh, by the way, did you notice anything way off in the distance when we rolled up on the downtown Disney construction site? Yeah, we've got new paint on the Pixar Place Hotel. Look at that. Went in for a closer look. Things look about standard from here. More white paint has replaced that kind of beigeish yellow paint. From the side, though, you can begin to see some color there. A little bit of yellow and a bit of blue pinstriping. Here's a better look, more straight on. And then from the front of the building, there's a red stripe to go with it. Very Pixar. But that's pretty much the extent of the visible progress since our last visit. Still beige on the front. Entrance is still closed, and that actually will be for a while. And still white on the Symbolot side. Meanwhile, inside, walls are still up at the lobby, and all guest services are still happening in Hall C. It's going to be that way for a few more months, I expect. While we're here, we can check in on the DVC tower at the Disneyland Hotel, where we can see that the entirety of the building is now behind scrim, which suggests they're going to be putting the actual face on this building, which is kind of exciting. We're in the final stages now. Really looking forward to seeing how this blends in with the existing towers and pool amenities. I feel like it's going to give it a much more resort-type feel, hoping anyway. Okay, we've got a few other small stories for you. A couple of weeks ago, we reported that Disney had converted the first 5 rows of the parking lot in the Woody lot to preferred parking. Now, I park there often, and so far I have yet to see more than even one row filled. So it's not going, I don't think, as well as they had hoped, which is interesting because when I rolled up to the Toy Story lot on Friday in the late afternoon, I was surprised to find that they had opened up those lanes to regular guests. CM's on site, they'll wave you up and tell you. I asked directly, can I park there? They said, yes, you can. They said that those rows are still being set aside in the mornings for preferred parking, but if they aren't filled up by late afternoon, then they just let regular guests park there. This was about 4 p.m. when I showed up. I'm not sure how soon they do them on a regular basis, but this was about 4 p.m. Now, I have no idea if they were still selling preferred parking at this time at 4 p.m. That would be kind of diabolical if they were. Like, what if somebody said, I would like the preferred parking? They're like, okay, that's $50. You could park in the same exact spot that the regular guests were. That would be wild. But anyway, just a heads up for those that park at Toy Story and who sometimes arrive for the evenings only, that those spots may be available for you. On this same Friday evening, I was filming our Black Friday trip report that we published a couple days ago. Hopefully you guys watched that one. We had a pretty amazing night that night, got a lot done. And that included a ride on Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm mentioning it here because for the first time in I don't know how long, literal years, I'm sure of it, literal years, all 4 turntables were working in that scene where the pirates are chasing the women or the women are chasing the pirates. All 4 turntables were working. Every single time I ride Pirates, I make a mental note of which are working and which are not, and just to observe. And I simply cannot remember when the last time I saw that all four were working at the same time. I can't remember. Even when Pirates reopened in July after that extended closure, the top left turntable was not working. And the last one, the one nearest the boats, now it was working, but you could hear, I mentioned this in that video, it sounded like it was busted up real bad. It did not sound good, very loud and cranky. And it turned out to be the case that it was not well, and they took it offline a few days later. On this visit, it was quiet as a mouse. So they fixed whatever was the problem there. And so it's all back now, and it's glorious. It's a glorious thing to see. I don't mind telling you, I really enjoyed that. Meanwhile, you may or may not have heard reports over the past, few weeks, months, that Splash Mountain has been slowly dying over the past few months, with conventional wisdom being that Disney wasn't interested in fixing anything on the ride, knowing that they were just going to close things down in like January or whatever to get ready for the update, for the Princess and the Frog update. Notably, if you were to ride recently, you would have seen scenes in total darkness. The animatronics weren't working. They just simply turned the lights off. But recently, the lights were back on, and miraculously, things were working again. Frankly, I'm stunned. But be careful in attributing this to Bob Iger, as the Splash Mountain thing. I think this happened actually a couple weeks ago, before Chapek was let go and Iger brought back. But I don't care really. What I care about is the attractions running like they should. Never mind who gets the credit. So I am super happy about this, and I hope it's a sign of more to come. I hope it's a sign that Disney has decided, because that sure seems like they decided not to before. And if that's the case, then now that they decided they will start fixing attractions, putting more effort, more budget, more time into bringing attractions back up to date. I'm hoping that's the case. And then one final update. Monsters, Inc. has reopened. It's been down for a little while. I took a ride on Sunday. Here's the final product. Let me know if you guys see anything new or different today. And then follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show you support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/FreshBaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.